Dustin Temple. I was diagnosed, it was March 12th of 2018. At that age, I was 33 years old. It was stage 4 rectal cancer. So the fall before, I was having some horrible pain, in my butt. I couldn't explain it any better. I couldn't sit. The best I could sit, I was leaned over like this, and it was uncomfortable no matter what I was doing. Standing, sitting, laying. Went to multiple doctors trying to figure stuff out, and finally they says, well, your next option is a colonoscopy. I says, okay, great, sign me up. We gotta figure this out. Dr. Ayers did the first colonoscopy. He says, well, I'm worried about what I'm gonna find. When I woke up, he comes in and he says, this is the hardest thing I'm gonna have to do today. I gotta tell you that, we did find something. We already biopsied it, it is cancerous. Told my wife, because she was with me. It was one of them deals where I looked at her, I said, well, call my folks and get them here and come up with a game plan. Everybody got home to my house that day. I just kind of looked around the room and looked at, pictures of kids on the wall, and I'm like, well, guess we got to do it. There was no second guessing. It was, okay, what do we got to do to get rid of it? I had a colonoscopy on Monday, CT scan Tuesday or Wednesday, another colonoscopy before the end of the week, and a PET scan right away. It was either like Monday or Tuesday of the following week. So my whole abdomen lit up. But then I had this little tree growing in my left lung. Call it a chunk of cauliflower almost. Right away, I was supposed to go into Sletton and have a meeting with Dr. Martin, and it was a couple weeks out because he was out of the office, he was on vacation, and he saw my name come across his email, and he calls me up and he says, can you be at my office at like 5:30 on Friday night? This is that same first week. I says, okay, why? He says, because I see what we got going already, and he says, we got to start like now. He says, I'm cutting my trip short, I'm coming home, and we got to get this thing rolling. We all go in, kind of meet with him, and he's like, 100,000 people, 5 will get what you have. Out of those 5, 1 will survive. Not very good odds when you look at it that way. So we got to start radiation, chemo pills, and he says, if this tumor does not shrink, it is so massive, there's no surgery. Your outlook is bleak at best. Attitude's 100% with this diagnosis. You could never look at the whole picture. You break it down and you kind of look at it like the Navy SEALs do, and it's just another task. It was, okay, I got to get through radiation and the chemo pills, that's just another task. You ask why I smile, well, okay, what's the next task? What's coming at me next? That was 28 days, radiation. They recommended 2 months after radiation before surgery. It says, if you go any sooner, you will not get it all. Radiation makes everything tender, and you can't tell what's cancerous, what's not, and so in 2 months' time, they are able to figure everything out. The tumor had shrunk, and so yes, I was a candidate for surgery. So Dr. Sheldon comes out, he says, that was a big surgery. He says, I was not expecting to take everything I did. He says, but I think we're good. They wound up removing the tumor out of my rectum, part of my left lung. They pulled out my appendix because it was wrapped in cancer and pulling it down into the tumor to make it bigger. They took out 32 lymph nodes, shaved off part of my prostate, gave me a partial vasectomy, and then peeled layer after layer off of my bladder, kind of like you would an onion. Then sewed me back up and told me I was good to go.